All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode. Episode number 60. Wow, so that's a big number, big number. Okay, as you can see, I have stinky particles. So I'm gonna go take care of that. Take a bath really fast, and then I'll be right back, and we'll get this episode started. Okay, be right back. Okay, it's all better. Look at, I'm no longer stinky. Whew, it's a nice bath. Yeah, I don't need that. Don't know what I was doing with that. Just taking a bath, don't mind me. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce this episode. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Now that we're all clean, Today I am going to work on the cliff. Let's take a look at what this cliff is supposed to look like, what the vision is, and see if we can make it do that. This was all ground, and I tore it out and made the water come in this way. The cliff used to kind of be out here a little bit more, but I pushed it back, trying to make it more steep. I think eventually, if I'm really going to want it to look super awesome from this side like it does in the movies, then I might have to take out all of this and make it water. I'm not looking forward to that. You can see, it's not horrible durability, but I'm getting down to the bottom of it. Once you get onto this side, which I refer to as sort of the back side, although it might actually be the front, because I think the big front entrance might be over there. But certainly the back side, from all the views, all the pretty views are taken from over there. That it's going to be less cliffy. The cliff that's here now will continue to be more and more shallow. You can see that it doesn't quite hug the building anymore. It's going to come out here-ish. This is kind of what my thinking is. But then it stays somewhat still of a ravine between this and another sort of cliff on the other side. It just gets a little bit less cliffy as you move out. So now we're behind the common areas. This, I think, is supposed to be maybe the main entrance. And it has a bridge. This is the big bridge. Or one of the main bridges. There's like a whole bunch of bridges, right? But one of the big bridges that Voldemort and Harry Potter fight on in the last movie. I think it is this bridge. And so it's a big, long bridge. And it's big and long because it is a ravine, but it's like a more shallow ravine. It's not just up and down. It's and so then the bridge has to be really long to cover that whole gap. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. This is going to come over. It's going to be more shallow, as I said. So instead of being a block over block down, kind of like what the cliff over there is, it's going to be 3 blocks over a block down, 3 blocks over a block down, ish, right? Because then you got to make it look natural and mix it up and do those sorts of things. All these trees are going to come out. Don't need all these trees to be underneath the thing. Oh, what? 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 Paintings missing. What? Why? No. No. Why? Oh, that's... Why? Okay, so what happened today is there was a Minecraft update that did some fixes. Oh, but they did more than just fix stuff. Every painting in this entire building is gone. Where else did I have paintings? Okay, now I need to go search my whole market, or my whole, all my buildings. There's a couple other spots. No, Minecraft, why did you delete all the paintings? Is it just that there was too many in those chunks, and so I got rid of the paintings in those chunks, or is all paintings gone? Now over here, I had it had some paintings in it. Let's go check it out. Ouch. Yeah, he would sit here on the couch and look as if it was a TV. That was a big painting. Yeah, all paintings are gone. Okay, I learned some things about this glitch. The first thing I learned is that the paintings are still there. I can interact with them. Yeah, and I made some more, and I can't put one where I here because there's already one here. So the painting is still there. Can I click on it this way? That painting is still there. That painting is still there. Many paintings are still there. Okay, so they're there. They're just invisible. It's like it's magic. Like this is Hogwarts, and it's magic. Okay, well, since I've never actually seen this room empty of paintings, let's just take a look around. It is funny, because they called this the giraffe room, and then in episode book number 1, maybe it was book number 2. Anyways, there's a scene where there's like this giant giraffe that like takes up many pictures. It's walking through all the different portraits. And then here I am calling it the giraffe room when there was actually a giraffe in one of the movies, in one of the pictures. Anyways, that's kind of funny. Maybe it's not funny. I thought it was kind of funny. Well, okay, so at least I don't have to come back through later on and figure out how to put all the paintings back up. Because, man, that took hours. So they're still there. I just gotta wait for the Minecraft bug to, that is making them invisible, make them not invisible anymore. So now I'm just gonna have to wait on my friends over at Mojang to take care of that. Alright, so crisis averted. I was in full panic mode, and now I'm not in panic mode. Now I know I just gotta wait for our developers to catch up with the content. Because one of the things that was really annoying with paintings is that they, yep, there it is, do you see it? Let's put paintings everywhere. Yeah, they're all down. The thing that's really annoying with paintings is that they take 8 sticks, which is 1 full log's worth, and then 1 wool. So, I made like 8 stacks of paintings for that room. It's like, oh, I don't want to have to go get 8 more stacks of wool and 8 more stacks of logs. I mean, I guess I have it, but that would have eaten up quite a bit, and I would be sad. Okay, well, that was an interesting distraction. So not only did we take a shower, but all of our pictures turned invisible. Okay, so now what's next? Now that the panic is over, breathe in. Oh, do I keep my boxes? I got my boxes with me. Okay, all right. Let's do a little bit of work on this out there. So then the question is, does it come out? How slowly? How fast? Is that going to stay there? Thank you. Can I get on top of that? That would be super awesome, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah. So back here, like, and this might even turn into grass, or maybe I'll add grass to it later. Big kind of field. I wanted there to be a reason why they built the buildings in the shape that they did. So maybe I do want the cliff to kind of hug this building, and they didn't build it any bigger because the cliff line was right there. So maybe I do want to bring this back more. I was not thinking of bringing it back much. But maybe over here, let's just kind of randomly put some blocks and say, what if? And then, yeah, I can use, yeah, it's not too bad. So it's still kind of slow, but if it was too flat, then they would have built another building here. I sort of think that's true. Or they would have put a park, or they would have put a giraffe pen, or they would have put a spaghetti factory, like something, right? So maybe not quite like that. Maybe it still needs to come back like this. Kind of, it comes down. So it's like, yes, you shouldn't have built this any bigger than you did. but maybe this initial line that's this high up needs to stay kind of hugging right up to that to justify why they built this the way they did. So, normally what you would do is you would start with the landscape and you would say, how do I build this castle into this landscape? Like, what makes sense? And I think Hogwarts would have been built that way. Like, here's this landscape, and it's got this great peninsula out over the water. Let's put this nice Great Hall on top of it. That makes sense. And the shape of that Great Hall is going to be, dictated by the shape of that peninsula. But now I'm creating it backwards, right? I know what the Great Hall ought to look like, and I know how big it is. Now I got to make it look as if the landscape was the reason why they shaped it the way they shaped it. So I kind of do feel like, at least at this higher level, that it needs to hug into what is up there. Okay, oh, that's right. There's a little walkie way around this side. Okay, that makes sense. So that's fine. That walkie way can come down to here. And it's like, yeah, they could have made the building bigger, but they wanted a walkway around it. Okay, that's fine. That fits the lore of the land, if you will. All right. And then, yeah, the reason why then they were able to put a tower here instead of maybe a tower here is because, again, the cliff came out into this way. All right. So anyway, so you can kind of see my thinking. I'm going to build a couple of these lines, maybe another one about that high. That kind of splits the difference maybe and meets up over there. Clearly this line has to go back out because that's not hanging off the cliff. Okay, so I'll check in with you guys in just a moment. Okay. All right, welcome back. I got some work done. Sometimes, you start working on something and you're listening to your songs and you like what you're listening to and you're bopping along, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I was going to bring in the audience a little bit more sooner than that. Oops. But here we are. So let me kind of show you what I've been thinking about as I do this. According to the models, this castle, this great hall, and then the big tall tower are kind of out on a peninsula. So this is all got to become water all the way around. I don't know how far I'll bring the water. We'll see. Maybe I'll still have to bring the water around. Maybe at least up to here-ish. I don't know. The cliff, and I was thinking about this when I was, doing the buildings of the cliff here. And I think I've mentioned this before, but right, the building was put here after the cliff in the real sort of world, right? The cliff existed. Someone found the cliff and say, hey, that's a nice cliff. Let's build the building. And the reason why the building is the shape the building is because that's what the cliff gave it, right? Like the cliff made sense to build something of this sort of shape. Now, of course, it's Harry Potter world, it's magic world. They probably don't necessarily have to worry about the same sorts of things. But my goal was to make it look like this cliff would have been, again, with magic, you can do what you want, but, would have been a little bit more complicated to build something differently than what they had built. So that was sort of the challenge that I gave myself. And so, from that, knowing that this cliff has this big area before it goes kind of off the cliff, I used the word cliff there many times. If you want to count the number of times I used the word cliff and let me know, that would be great. But I thought, okay, well, up here, instead of letting it flat out, I'm going to have like a feature, like this sort of chasm, and it's not really a chasm, it's just a couple blocks. Every time I look over here, I'm like, yeah, this needs to go deeper. Maybe even a little bit wider to kind of say, hey, no, this cuts into there. And it made it so that whoever built the buildings were like, yeah, let's not build on top of that. Let's just keep going that direction with our builds as opposed to trying to deal with this. Again, they could have probably, right? It's all magic, but it would, path of least resistance, let's build that way. So, this big sort of cut in the cliff that's going to go all the way down to the bottom, just be annoying. And maybe, and what I was thinking, have the cut split and maybe come down over here as well. Another sort of feature that I built into it, I said, hey, let's have not just everything go straight down, but it'll have these extra bumps. So here's this extra sort of mounded area that doesn't really align to anything up on top, but I felt I needed to have something more natural, and not that everything sort of hugged the shape of the building. One of the ways that I do this cliff building, what has worked for me in this particular build, is I know that it's got to come up there and touch the base of the building. So then I just kind of build these contour lines and say, okay, well, I want it to be kind of steep here. You know, it's steep right here. That's why they didn't build this any further out than they did. But then it's okay that it gets shallower. I guess right here it's still kind of steep. Okay, so that's as far as I've gotten. I've got some more to do. I've used 2 shulker boxes full so far of stone. A couple stacks of dirt. I decided that was looking better in stone because this is the cliffy side, but I think I will start incorporating more dirt around here. And then of course, once all the cliffs are in, I'll go through and, rough them up, put some, mossy cobble, put some different sorts of textures in there. It's all kind of one texture right now, but I think that's fine because I'm just doing shapes right now. All right, so my goal, for the end of this episode is to go ahead and wrap this around, kind of get to where the bridge is going to be. That's probably as far as I'll get today. I don't know. Eventually, obviously, if we kind of carry it all the way over. We have to figure out, how closely do I want to try to mimic what the directors in the movies, their interpretation was, how much do I want to make my own interpretation of, how things were shaped. And I think that I'm not going to ever get it exactly fine so that when every Harry Potter fan looks at it, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I thought it should look like in Minecraft. But I'll get it to where I'm happy with it. That's good enough, right? Because I'm going to be the one that's on this world. I still, I am a Harry Potter fan, so I'd love to make it as, as accurate as I can. But I know where my limits are, and I know not just my limits in terms of creativity, but my limits in terms of time. This just takes a long time. I've had to go heal up my pick, and I've had to go heal up my shovel a couple times. Shovel because I expanded the water already, and I'm just sort of, getting kind of burnt out, wanting to do something else now. So even though I was in the mood for landscaping, now I'm kind of like, maybe I'm less in the mood for landscaping all of a sudden. And mistakes like that, when I accidentally place a block, it's like, nope, it stays. That's going to be a new feature where it's going to come out somewhere where maybe I wouldn't have expected it to. We don't judge. Nature has some randomness, and so if I get an accidental random placement, it's like, well, then now that is nature. That's what that is. And also, if you guys have been playing Harry Potter, if you guys have been playing Minecraft for a while, there's one sort of awesome trick that it took me a long time before I realized this. I saw other developers, content creators do it, and you're just like, well, how do they happen? They don't have anything in their inventory. On my slidey bar, look down here at the bottom, there's nothing, and then it sounds like they make a click, and all of a sudden they have the block that they're looking at. For the longest time, I didn't know how to do that. So if you don't know how to do that, I will bring you in on a little secret. It's not a secret. I guess you could probably Google it and figure it out. It's the middle mouse button. For my mouse, I have a scrolly wheel. And so I click, quote unquote, click the scrolly wheel. And then whatever block I'm looking at, becomes the block. And if it's in my hotbar, it just moves to that spot. So I'm not scrolling back to the stone. I'm hitting the middle button, and it says, no, you have that in your hotbar, silly. I'm not going to put more in your hotbar. And of course, you have to have it in your inventory for it to move it to your hotbar. But anyways, if you didn't know, I'm going to take a little steep sleep, and we're going to work on this, like I said, around there, and I'll bring you in just a moment. Alrighty, everybody. Let me walk you through all that had to happen. Are you ready? First of all, this cliff, this area is done the entire way around what we'll call the common rooms. See? Through here? Right through there? Right through there? Okay, yeah. Based on all the different maps, those rooms are more of the academic rooms, the classy rooms, the gardens, the herbologies, the, pick a things, in the teachers' offices and the common rooms, generally seen in this side of those bridges, if you will. So on this side of the bridges, typically we have the common rooms. But here's what I had to do in order to make everything fit. Here's what I had to do. Okay. I was already building it where this level was just the same level for the whole thing. And it's like, it's just the way it is. I don't really like it, but I don't want to have I wanted to have up and downs. I just didn't know how I was going to make all the up and downs. And then as I was building over here, and I was looking at some other images of the towers and of, Hogwarts in general, the cliff, yeah, did come down. Maybe it came down a little sooner than this one did. Um, but I said, okay, well, we'll start by making it look like the cliff face is coming down here. Looks like it wants to go back up, but then it doesn't, and then now we're officially on this level. So I dropped it a floor. You're like, okay, that's probably not too hard. What kind of work did that take? Oh dear, it meant a lot. For one, it meant that I finally could have a level lower down here in my there's no paintings everywhere, but there's paintings everywhere room. Okay, so I always wanted to maybe go down, so I'll just go ahead and do that. And it was kind of like, well, I've always wanted to. Oh, this is a nice room. This is a nice room. I always wanted, just more stairs going up and down and around. So I widened this hallway. I added sort of this place for the ups. I added a down. Maybe, I don't know, something about this is like not really singing to me. Added a door there. I guess I have a door over here too. All right. Oh, I'll cover it with a painting when the paintings start to be visible again. Whenever that bug fixes itself. Yeah, so now this level that I'm on here is, ground level for this and ground level for that room. But it's like the first level up, second level up, if you will, I guess, for this big room here. Which, we'd already started putting some wood floors into. But now it's down a floor. Which also meant, because I kind of had my fake floor in, just because I was putting stuff on, well, it was too high. So I tore up a bunch of my fake floor. I put down some new fake floor. Not really wanting to necessarily go do it all, but just so that I can run around and while I was putting this floor. Now this floor is in, so I don't need that. Yeah, now I have lots of decisions to make because this floor that's on top of that brown wood was going to be like the main floor of the common room, everybody's common room, like the whole house, everybody. And then the bridge was going to come off of that. Well, now the bridge is going to come off of here, which I think is a great opportunity to change things up to something that might be a little bit better. Okay, so now the bridge not being as high does a couple things. First of all, I don't have to build as much cliff. So this is going to go down, it's going to V, it's going to mimic this, not perfect symmetry, but it's going to mimic this and go back up the other side. And that's because it's a really long bridge, right? That's the weird one that's in the thing. I definitely will put that bridge in. There's a little tower that hits on the other side. Okay, so the opportunity is that it won't be as hard to build because I don't have to build that cliff up as much. The second opportunity is when you walk in here, the floor plan can still start up there. So I built the floor out to there, but now I'm thinking maybe I didn't want to go that far out because maybe all I want when you come in here, if you recall in a couple of the movies, it shows kind of like an entrance-y way place, but then it has just these big staircases that kind of go off. So that's what I'm thinking. Well, maybe I rip this up, this wood floor. Maybe it even moves up a couple blocks. And then this front area, maybe from, I don't know, maybe that's what these parts are to that part over there. It's just like these massive, nice looking stairways, maybe a couple hidden rooms behind it. I don't know. But that does, of course, mean that I got to rip up all of that, move it up, figure out how to make the stairs and everything work with the other hallways. But those are all solvable problems. I like it. I think even though this was a lot of work, all I was doing the cliff, and all of a sudden I had to do more work over there. It was amazing. It just became really big. But clearly that is all I'm going to have time for today. This is a super long amount of effort to put into this episode. But I hope it is enjoyable. I hope you like it. I hope you find something inspiring about your own, how you build your cliffs and how you do those things. And again, I still have to rough this up because it's all just the same block as it goes around. And I will can't wait to show you that in the next episode where we start more interior work, more working on the castle. Okay? Let's do this the professional way. Okay? Oh, I appreciate you watching my video, and I will catch you in the next one. I'm going to open my eyes. Okay, there we go. And goodbye.